Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all, oh gosh, should I get myself together? I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. Welcome to my witchy review. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Venus Day. Um, we're going to have a nice little time. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, so if you were up for some just random witchy topics, randy, random witchy topics and conversation, this is the right place to be. I have a haul ready to go. I have a review of 2 seasons of a TV show that I really want to talk about, and I have a book review that I want to talk about. So we're gonna have a good conversation. Hey, Gemstones and Dylan and Ski. Hey. Hey, but I'm struggling. Boku Wakuma 90. You know what I'm saying. Thank you. Hey. You like my hair? Thank you. Yeah, I figure I'd do something, Valentine's Eve. And yeah, just wearing my hair up because I can't wear things. I told y'all I had an allergic reaction um, to something. We still don't know exactly what. I did eat something out of the ordinary, like a dessert, and I think my face was swollen. This is the first day it's down. I don't have, this is the only makeup I have on. But my neck, I broke out into hives and it was itchy and yeah, it was a situation. Had to get I actually had to go to urgent care. I didn't I thought I could just do like a over the counter antihistamine type thing. Come to find out I could not. And it was bad. You get better at saying it every live stream. I'm getting better, thank you. That I'm aiming for that. Let me go ahead and yeah, put this on here. Good. I'm aiming for that, thank you. Okay. So I think I'll better start with the haul. So the name of the store, it's in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you, Dylan. Um, this is the first day this well, like my lids are still, so you're I mean I'm not gonna show you, but it's still a little swollen. Um, but it was like I had the whole like it looked like it was swollen around both eyes, like the lid and underneath. My lip was swollen. It was not cool. I was very concerned. So yeah, I did some work with Aphrodite. I did some well, I'll just share this with you in case the person is watching because you never know. I honestly believe that this wasn't a simple accident because I'm having a hard time tracing the allergic response, and it was just my face, not my tongue swelling, nothing with trouble like breathing or anything like that. It was just my face. And the one thing that I share publicly is my face, my likeness. And I just want to say that I have already done some work. I mean, I share things with you guys, but I don't share everything with you. And I'm just going to say I've done some work. I have a 100% track record. I'm not the cursing, hexing type of person. I'm the type of person, if you ask me if I have had enemies or anything like that, I'm going to tell you no. Not any known ones. I don't know. If you might, I didn't know. I didn't know you hated me. But I also believe that sometimes there are people who in, inadvertently throw things at you. No, I don't even know who. Well, shoot, I don't even, Dylan, I don't even know if that's the person. Honestly, I don't know. I got everybody from, I told you I share some family stuff with y'all. So I got that. I got in people y'all don't even know about, some other business stuff. I got the random person who, like you said, who might watch. You never know. You don't know. But I just find it was a series of events. It wasn't just this one thing. So please know since then the level of protection is up. um, I don't believe in just times three, times 20. So whatever was sent to me, the work has already been put out there times 20. Um, you should met I'm an older witch. I've been doing this for a minute and I do have a 100% track record. That is not really my lane unless it's family. who I've done it for and they got theirs, or when you personally disrupt me, like breaking into my house or something like that, and now, people are dead in jail. Just saying. I didn't pull the trigger, but the way the magic happened, they killed themselves. So I'm gonna just say this: you mess with the wrong witch. I do, but that's why it was gemstones. This is what I'm saying. There was no other way to attack. I'm a cottage witch. Home hearth magic is my forte. Definitely glamour is my forte. One of the things when you're doing glamour is, and it's so funny because I literally heard somebody just say this in the last 24 hours, and it was just like the light bulb went off because I talked about this with my cousin yesterday. When you do glamour magic, the other thing that you have to do with all the attraction and all that sort of stuff is you have to set up a line of protection for yourself as well. I wouldn't say that I don't, it's just that I do so much protection magic and I'm always in the home. I have, like, it was very specific to that and to like my person, like me out in public. But I don't think infused enough protection around my likeness. Meaning, so I'm on live now and you're looking at me, but if you're recording, you have a picture of me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I had been doing enough around that because I was doing so much attraction work and openness and all that sort of stuff, to connect here on this platform. So I was intentionally opening myself up, I thought, with boundaries and barriers. So, a petty thing could sometimes slip in because I wasn't doing enough around my likeness. That has since been corrected. So now's not a good time to go back in for round two. See, that's what I don't about the craft. You may never know who. Yeah, I personally don't believe in times X around in times X amount, but you do. You, yeah. Wait, for me, I personally don't believe in times X. Oh, wait, I return it to you times 20. Well, it depends on how you work that spell. Because when I do it, I mean, somebody died. So I'll just leave it there. And I'm being real honest. Like, I'm not making that up. I was a victim of a home invasion. I told that story before. In real time. Cops were involved, everything. The news, it was a thing. I was living in the Atlanta area at the time. But let's move on to this fun review of a place called Stardust and Sage. Stardust and Sage. Beautiful store, beautiful people in the store. Ignore my nails. I took my faux nails off. I'm going to do another set. But anyway, Stardust and Sage is a modern spiritual botanica wellness space and apothecary. I just said metaphysical store because it was easy to call it that, but there's so much more. When you walk into the store, it's in the ASU, Arizona State University area. So it's a lot of like, it feels very collegiate, like the people around there, a lot of young vibes, a lot of cute little stores. It's, definitely giving city. When I go there, I usually have to park a couple blocks away to get to the store, which I like because it's a time to kind of walk around and immerse myself into the city culture, little bit of that life. And when I go in, it always smells so freaking good. And um, this is the store that I went to. I did a reading way back. I think it was 2020. Was it 2020 or 2021? I'm not sure. But I had did a reading there. And I don't talk, first of all, I don't, it's a rare date. I think that's the first reading I can remember paying for in a very long time. But yeah, I did that there, and it was a beautiful reading, and what I was told connected. But sometimes you need to, when you're a reader, sometimes you could be blocked, or you don't want to see what I'm saying. So you need to reach out. But I have a lot of will. I've raised a daughter who is actually very good at reading cards, and I can go to her. But if it's subject matters that I don't want to talk about with my daughter, I'll go to somebody else. But anyway, I went there for a reading. It was excellent. I've since shopped at the store. So I wanted to get some new things. They opened up an apothecary in the store in the back. So it's like, imagine all these beautiful, gigantic glass jars beautifully labeled, and you can walk in. There's like a, it's so freaking witchy when you go in there. It's beautiful. It feels the vibe, the energy. I can feel it. I'm definitely an empath. I think we all are, but I definitely, work in being an empath as well. And when I walked in the store, it just felt right. The person helping me helped me. It was just a beautiful experience. So, um, what are you saying? You don't like to show your astrology positions except for sun, sign, or anything else important in life because witches and non-witches be doing shit. Yeah, Stardust and Sage is a beautiful source. So I got a couple things. I went to their apothecary. So the first thing I needed to get one of these like tea strainer bowls because I don't own one. I have other things, but I realized I needed to add this to my arsenal. And then I got their womb tea. So it's a special blend. I have the link in the description so you can go there. You can purchase this stuff online if you don't live in this area. I would definitely recommend going there. The herbs, everything is, it's good. It's good. So the I don't have all the list of ingredients, but you can look online to see what's in the womb tea. Obviously, when I was in the store, we talked about it and they helped me. But it's definitely helpful. I also wanted to get some rooibos tea. So I usually just order, honestly, I've been ordering like the larger containers or bags from Amazon. There's a specific brand that I like. But I was, here and I love the energy and I want to support. So I got their rooibos tea. So this is what it looks like. It's very well ground. So I love rooibos tea. Fun story, not so fun, but fun. um, and I was telling the young lady that was helping me about this story. I remember years ago, I was in a supermarket purchasing like store bought rooibos tea, and this woman standing behind me had to let me know, "Oh, you like that tea? It tastes like dirt." Now, rooibos tea is something that you're gonna find, and okay, well, let me. I was introduced to rooibos tea because of the book series Number One Ladies Detective Agency. It was turned into a series on HBO years ago. Jill Scott played the lead. The director of the film unfortunately died, and everything sort of stopped. Seeing that on a big screen was life changing for me because I was so absorbed into that series. I loved everything about that book series. I loved the way the characters came to life. I loved everything. And the one thing these characters did is they sat down and they had tea. And their tea was the rooibos tea. And it didn't matter how hot or what was going on, it was always freaking tea time. So it got me thinking. So that's when I went to the store and I saw it was on the shelf. So I tried it and I loved it. I love drinking rooibos tea. So in my mind, I have these connections to it. So this heifer is standing next to me telling me it tastes like dirt. I ain't gonna say what I said back because that's not important. But anyway, fun story. So I got the rooibos tea because I wanted to support their apothecary. As I need more things, I didn't need anything else to be honest. I have all the other stuff, my own, arsenal of things. But these were I needed some tea blends for sure. So these were where it was going to be at. So while I was also there in that same vein, I love the way it smelled in the store. Gemstone says I stayed on. Oh, you stayed on a rooibos tea farm in South Africa once a long time ago. I think you might have shared that before because I think I've talked about rooibos tea before. Yes, I look forward to even having. Okay, I because I think I talked about Botswana. Because of the series? I don't care is done and over with. I still want to go to Botswana. I still. Okay, so my dream is to go to Botswana and I want to stand under the same type of trees that she described or he described because the man wrote this book by this series. I think he's like, where is that man from? He's not British. Is he? I thought he was Scottish. I'm not sure, but this man has a pulse on the black women there because he wrote those stories, that book series. Like you would think a native African person wrote it. He's obviously very observant. But anywho, she was burning this blend. I smelled the Palo Santo and I said, oh my God, it smells so good in here. This is I wish it was smell-o-vision. Palo Santo and Rose Romance. So I figured today would be the perfect day to burn this. And Oh my God. Yes, heifer. It smells. Oh, it smells good. Oh my God. I can't wait to burn this. Anywho, this is definitely going on my Aphrodite altar. And getting, yes. Oh my God. I'm just, ooh, the vibes. Anyway, so that is such a peaceful, balancing aroma, and I need that in my life. So, but at the same time, to me, it's like an invitation, inviting you into something more. Hence the romance. It's sexy. It's grounding. Mm. Just what Palo Santo smells like, and you have an idea. The rose is not overpowering it. It's a Venus day. Mm. Perfect for Venus day. Anywho, on the same vein, the next thing I got was this Owa oil. Okay. So it's a money oil, essentially. So in here are crushed up real dollar bills. In here, that's a lot of no. Anyway, real dollar bills in here that was crushed up. So yeah, you look at that, beautiful. So I have my own money oil, but I had purchased some oils from them a while back, and they were making them differently then. They were in these skinny jars or like little tubes. And I shared that, I remember before here. That was a while ago. You should want that. Incense smells, it's so good. Anywho, I went and I got this because I'm gonna be doing some things. So I definitely wanted some of this. Um, then, speak on that vein, money. So these are hard. So I got a few of these $100 bills. I purchased these. I think they're like $1 per bill or something like that. So I purchased 7 of them for a reason. But anyway, so you already get the idea of where some of this might be going for me. And then I wanted to get a new rose stone, and this called out to me. This one is beautiful. This is the one that called out to me. So I sat there and, I just, but it feels right even now. I haven't cleansed it yet. It feels right. So this is also something going up on the altar. And then I got one of their Bring Customers candles. And this is the English, this is Spanish. I got a couple different candles from them. Exactly. I got a couple different candles from them, and I have nothing but good things to say about them. They do offer services where they will spell your candles for you in the store, just so you know. They'll anoint them. I feel, I feel like I know what I'm doing, so I am gonna go ahead. Okay, here's the thing about buying from other people. I have purchased a spell candle before. What is it called? I think it's called the Conjure. I think that's what it's called, years back. And I spent, I mean, I'll tell you guys, I spent like, I think they were like $70 for the candle, and it was supposed to be spell. I purchased it. Actually, they were doing a deal, and I purchased like 3. And so they were like marked down or something. And I believe that they worked. I'll tell you that right now. When I first started the leaptaken.com website, my business, I that was part of it. And I was doing that with that purpose when I first started it. And I'd like to say it worked. I've been supporting myself somewhat in part from there. So as a stream of income. So yeah, I believe it works. I've got my monthly moon readings over there, so that's a subscription. I have my readings, so I have bookings. I have the mentorship program. I've sort of I pull that because I'm an authentic witch, and I'm not trying to work myself crazy, but at the same time, I want to give. Why am I getting a phone call? Anyway, it's my mom FaceTiming me or Google Meet time me. But anyway, it worked. So I do believe that depending, I mean, it's trial and error sometimes, this witch life, this magical life, right? Sometimes things work and you spend your money and it works, and other times it didn't. We can get into why that is, but it worked for me. If only you could get some of our English rain. There's so much here in Arizona. Yeah, it rained for in my area yesterday. So um, I got a little bit. It wasn't intense, but we probably not probably we could always use some rain here in the desert. We could use it. Um, let me. What else am I missing? So yeah, no. So that was like it was like a mini haul. Oh, it smells so good, just like real life. I know it's no. There are no magic. Okay, let's talk about magic for a minute. There are no guarantees in magic. I would like to tell you there are. Okay, seriously, stop calling me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's my mom. Okay. You I'm not even going to get into how I know for a fact she does not know that I am currently live because my mom was telling her friend, "Oh yeah, Mika has her blog. I have a blog." I was like, "Yeah, I that's right. I have a blog. Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. Let me turn the volume down. There you go." I was like, "Yep, I got a blog. If something's really wrong, she'll text me. Nothing better be really wrong. I'm not today. Not today. Anyway." She made me lose my train of thought because I'm going over all the possibilities. My mother takes care of my 90-year-old grandmother, by the way. So when I get like back-to-back calls, like my heart catches in my chest a little bit because I'm like, it has never really been anything that big, but like, come on, y'all know how that is. But yeah, back to what I was saying. There's no guarantee in life or magic. Even the magic that we do ourselves. I've had so many trial and error, hit or miss spells that I've done over the years. Um, and then other times I have to stop and you have to allow your one of the messages that I did get a while back is, hey, you got to let the magic unfold. You were thinking it was going to happen right now. Like as soon as I, lit the candle, boom, it's popping. And other times things take time because it has to. There's a process. There's other things at play. And never forget we all have our will, our own magic, even mundanes. People who think that, they all have their magic. We all have something. And that's at play as well. So you can cast a spell and you can do the things. And if you notice some things don't work on other people or the spell just doesn't seem to be coming together, I think this is the thing when you talk about money spells for sure. Definitely love spells. It just seems like it's not coming together. And is it really not coming together, or maybe it's just a timing thing? And I've learned it's a timing thing. For the longest time, I would cast spells to make it, and I've talked about this before with my family. I felt like we were kind of always catching up. I put my kids' education, well, myself and at the time husband, put our kids' education like as the big deal for us. So what that meant was my daughter said she wanted to be a doctor. Well, I believed her. And I did everything I could to get her there. She applied to multiple medical schools. And by the way, to become a doctor is not, unless you're coming like a legacy or somebody, it is very difficult to become a doctor with absolutely no connections, including just getting into medical school. Even though she graduated from the University in Miami with a 4.0 when she graduated, perfect GPA. She had been in the Honor Society when she went to the first college that she went to, and before she transferred to University of Miami. And she's did the volunteer work, she did the things, and she's like incredibly freaking smart. um she wasn't getting anywhere with her medical school application, so she went into nursing. But true to form, she's not really the bedside nurse type. But I've been supportive of her through everything. The college, like doing all the things, finding out, because at the time we lived in the state of Florida. If you're watching this and you're in Florida, for the longest time they have something like a co-op thing where for us well, they do it for the kids in public school, but as homeschoolers, I had already gotten her on college level. So before she was 17, she was like 16. She technically had a high school education completed. So for what would have been her senior year of high school, she started with a full course at a college in Florida, and the state paid everything, and that's where she got a National Honor Society and all that. And then from there, she transferred over to the University of Miami, which was a wonderful experience for her. Happy Friday, Danny. Magic takes the path of the least resistance. In my experience, it's been so true. Yeah. And Jim says, as the Buddhist says, when the conditions are ready, a manifestation happens. Right. And I do, conditions have to be ripe. Um, but I supported her through that entire process. Then my son started going to college at the same time that she was finishing up at the University of Miami. That is two children in college. He did not follow the same fate where that first year was paid for. So also like the meal plan, like I was discovering a whole new world. He She borrowed a lot more money, and between loans and us paying some of her tuition, then he came and they didn't give him as much money, so we had to come up like his food expense. And he's like 18 in college and he ate a lot, so we were like, we're funding everybody, cars, insurance, all that, us, me, so our money was taxed, and we downsized. We went to like a condo from like bigger houses, and I did so many spells for money. And when I would look at it, I used to feel like if they weren't working, especially when we couldn't make the tuition payment. Um, it was $10,000 that I had to come up with in 4 months, and we couldn't come up with $10,000 in 4 months. Additional, mind you, I had been paying I had just paid just under $5,000, and then we got hit with the bill, and I was like, I can't come up with another 10. I don't have a place to take it from. So she missed out on a year. All her friends graduated. It was really sucky. Um, but we supported her through that. So because of that, there were so many times that we just we just didn't have it. So on the outside, if you look like, because people would tell me this, that I knew, you guys always look like you had it together. um a friend of mine said, you never let it show, like you never showed that side that you were struggling financially. And I was like, I mean, yeah. I was over there casting so much magic, and it didn't seem like it was working, because it tore me when I saw that her college roommate, like she was away at college and she had roommates, and she met these people and built these relationships and built this whole other life, and she couldn't go back to it. And I felt horrible. So I did so much work, and I can't even tell you the one spell that worked, because I had did so many things, and I started petitioning these powerful goddesses and all this work. And I don't even know, I can't tell you which one worked, because I was desperately doing magic. But she was able to go back. We were able to pay the debt, the 10 grand plus the money for her to finish that last year. And it was tough for her. She developed a gray streak. My like Storm, seriously, she got a gray streak right here from that last year of just like going in. She had to travel. She couldn't live on campus, so we moved to Boynton Beach. She had to drive to Miami, so sometimes it would be an hour one way, sometimes an hour and a half, but she would leave in the morning and she would be there all day. Now, as a woman, if you think, I want you to think about it. As a young woman, no matter what's going on with your body, your cycle, you got to be there all day. So she had to pack everything. It was tough. She couldn't work. Where was she going to work? She was studying when she was home. She car accident, because all that traveling, she got caught up in like a accident before. It was just ridiculous. And she made it through that, and we supported her. All those spells, I didn't know. In the meantime, I got my son, and I'm trying to keep him protected. Our stepdaughter tragically dies at 24. It was just a lot going on in those times. It was just so much happening. My son took that really bad. I didn't know how bad that was, like the catalyst. Also, everybody's not meant to go away. Not everybody needs to be away at school. That was a mistake. He should have took a different path. Um, he couldn't manage. He couldn't stay in school. He failed. He failed. He wasn't going to class. He checked out. He was in his room. He went to a major depressive state fucking hate, excuse me, I hated that for him. I did spells. I don't know which spell worked, but I did all that for him. And just financially taxing, emotionally taxing. Those were some tough years. And he ended up going into the Air Force. Wait, yeah, not living with us. She was with my, yeah, she didn't live with us. She lived with her mom way back when. Yeah, she died. It's been some years since she died. So yeah, I think it was like 2014. So I'm not going to talk about it. But anyway, yeah. Um, and she's older than my daughter. So she was the oldest. So she was like a couple years older than my daughter. She was 24 when she died. She went to sleep and died. There were some health issues, but and she had a 2 year old. It's a tragic situation. It's so freaking tragic. Um, so yeah, all those spells. I know, and I'm not even gonna tell you. I don't know which one worked, which got us through. But those times of just the next thing I know, something clicked. The job situation for the then husband, everything freaking changed. And once that changed, I talk about the story of $1,000 being like manifesting $1,000, and I knew if I just had $1,000, that would change everything. Not at that part. I needed 10,000 at one point. Then I needed another 5,000. So it wasn't that. But once we got out of that, that situation got resolved with just a job situation, and some contract work and having double work basically took us out of that. Boom, we were good. She finished. My son, went into the Air Force. Didn't love that, but he's coming out. So he went into the Air Force. He's been there for 6 years. Ah, yeah. And then we moved here. I had a dream. I saw mountains and palm trees and a fence that was made out of cinder block. And I knew when I saw the job for Arizona for then husband, mind you, I'm not working outside the home. Um, I applied for the job. He was right there. We used to share an office space, so he knew that's how we worked. I did a lot of stuff for him. So the job situation and the contracts that helped us get through dried up. So we were looking for new opportunities. Boom, Arizona happens. We get here. I know everything's going to change. I know everything's going to change. So this is 2019, and everything did change. And that's the story of the $1,000 spell. That I know worked. I remember saying, if I could just get an additional $1,000, I don't have to pay back. I don't want a loan. It needs to just kind of drop out of the sky. A resource I don't know about. And $1,000, I can put everything ahead and everything would be great. And that was kind of my singular focus. And then, thanks, Dylan. Um, and that's what happened. So that magic works so good. That money spell works so good. I got the $1,000. Then I got another $1,000 on top of it from an unexpected source. And then a lot more than $1,000 came. And then that just set the tone for everything. And to be honest, I've been very comfortable since then. I know COVID happened, all that. Um, I've been very comfortable since then. And there's been some changes, and I'm still going through changes. But that I don't have to pay back is that I don't have to pay back. I could have taken a loan for $1,000, but I needed, like, at that point, moving here, getting everybody situated, him into the military, getting the things that, whatever the last minute stuff he needed. I don't like moving across the country from Florida to Arizona, even though the company paid for it, so much had to be pared down. We didn't move directly into our final place. We were in temporary places. Bills were still due. It was a lot. We were coming off of the other stuff drying up, so things were starting to get backed up. So I just said I could probably get ahead with that. Like, once we moved here, I was like, I could get things ahead and not be behind getting like the past due notices and all that sort of stuff. Because at this point, we all come here. There's only three adults and one person. Actually, shoot, when we first came here, it was four adults and only one of them with a job. Four adults, one person with a job. So you see my point, and multiple cars. So you got insurance, you got gas. So people look for a job. We were waiting for him to go into the military. So, we were trying, four people on this one income, adults on this one income, things were taxing. And then we were moving, so we had to make sure we had the money for that. Anyway. So once we were done and I budgeted everything because I handled all the finances as well. I was like, $1,000. I just had this thing. I was like, I feel like that's just gonna make the difference somehow. That $1,000. Once we used up all the money we had, and we were finally in this place, and I had to buy furniture. I wasn't thinking about that. I just wanted to be ahead, and I felt like that would fix it. And I was gifted 1,000, and then another 1,000 on top of that. And there was literally within a month of that, that's when a big shift happened, and everything changed, and it's been changed since then. Um, why was I talking about this? But magic is precarious. I'll just say that. Um, but lean into the wildness of magic. Be wary of any witch who makes it seem like it always works. Everything they do work. We are witches in living a human experience. There's nothing that's always. We're not always. We die. I mean, you're not always. There's no always. Just like there's no really perfection is not a real thing. You can get close to it, but there's always something. Um, Lean into that. That's where I like chaos magic. And that's why I like glamour magic, I think, and pop culture magic, because it allows for the frenzy, the wildness of magic, and the chaos of it all. And once you're kind of in tune with that and you remember that, you can lean into it and work with it. That's where you start thinking, stop thinking like when I said, money I don't have to pay back. I'm accounting for the wildness of magic. So I was like, money that's just falling, seemingly falling out the sky. Like I'll say that as a chant. A resource unknown, or a resource I know that I haven't tapped. I leave room for the whimsical, for the wildness of magic. Became, you needed to talk about it. Yeah, because I needed to talk about it. I guess so. Yeah, maybe this message is hitting somebody who's going through a series of events, or you're on the back end of it and you're dealing with the aftermath. Because I felt like these were my tower moments. Um, because those things that were happening were huge at the time, and it was yeah, it was I had to clean up and constantly rebuild. And then little did I know, a few years later I would be doing the same thing again, rebuilding. But this time it was different because I had manifested that. um and I had gotten better of leaning into the wildness and using that wildness and allowing the magic to surprise me in delightful ways. Being open to how does the universe receive your manifestations, the perception of the universe, and thinking of it like that instead of I want it to be a red car, or I want it to be a house with this many rooms, and you're very specific, and I want my partner to look like this. They have got to be over 6 feet tall. um Thank you, Jim Stones. And being open to the idea that the universe is interpreting my manifestations, even through very detailed description. I'm very good at writing out a story, so I'm very descriptive about what I want, what I wanted, and what I wanted to manifest. So I needed those signs, but I wasn't detailed on every nook and cranny about everything that I wanted to manifest. I went back and read over my writings on multiple occasions. Like, I see what I did. I was writing from the heart. I was scripting from my heart. I was manifesting from my heart on what truly I desired. I didn't think about what other people thought, what I desired. That's how I ended up in a cottage. Ironically, unironically, or maybe, as I came to terms with being a hearth witch, being a house witch, being a cottage witch. And I live in this cottage, and my heart felt like I remember holding tears back as we toured this place. Because that's not a good look. Walking around, someone showing you the place, and you're breaking, you're crying. And it was just me and my daughter who came to see the place. So I don't know. And now it's me and my daughter. We're, the Gilmore Girls over here, by the way. Um, Without all the nastiness of the undertones of that, like she didn't grow up to be a B, like Lori or Rory, the daughter. I've watched the series. I never watched. I watched it late in life, like a year ago, and I didn't know Lorelai is the mom. What's the little girl named Rory, right? Yeah, I didn't like her, and that's where I would meet eventually Sam before he got to Supernatural. Anywho, let's move on to this review. Hopefully, this story reached who it needed to reach. Um, I will throw magic at a problem, and it doesn't always stick. It doesn't always come through in a way, but when I think about it, all those spells that I was doing was accumulating. All those big deities I was reaching out to, they answered, but it wasn't in the time frame. I I guess I wanted it now. I wanted to fix it now. And it took a year. It took a year. But if you think about what I was asking for a way to have, I mean, I'll just talk real numbers. I needed like something that got like at minimum multiple contracts that was paying like $100,000 annually, or high, rates, even if it wouldn't last for the year, but like over, not at 100, over. So I was really looking for like $200,000 income annually. Then I was looking for an immediate surplus of cash now to resolve some things. So those are big things, right? If you're asking the universe to start making, $250,000 now, you know, and you weren't making $250,000 before. You were, not quite there. That's a big ask. So it took about a year to pull some of that together, because that's essentially what I was asking. That's what I was doing. It started, and I realized I started small, which in hindsight, I wish I would have went big from the beginning. And I discovered something about myself is that, and this is definitely from childhood, I was afraid to dream big. And that's something I have to watch even to this day. I'm afraid to truly desire something, a big dream. I've been afraid to, because if it doesn't happen, it's soul crushing to me to get my hopes up and it doesn't happen. So, you know, that's a shadow work thing that I have to still come back and go back into occasionally. Like, hey, let's, because I'm in an example of when I let my heart run free and I work with the chaos of magic and it came true. So I have proof that it works. It's just that, and there's other things as well, but those, that fear comes whispering in your ear. For the past month and a half, I've been rewatching the Gilmore Girls. There you go. I've created my own Gilmore Girls here. I did not know about this show, by the way. But I mean, I knew it existed, but it wasn't, in my wheelhouse to care about. So I watched the whole series, loved it. I can't stop smelling this. I will be lighting it soon. So that was that. Now I want to talk about Wicked City. I took notes because I think when we're working prosperity and home magic, we're oftentimes working with energies of the element of earth, which are slow moving but strong. Very good point about earth magic being a little bit slower. But I will say more stable because if you are aligned, you kind of lock in, right? And once you're locked in, like it's real, it's the real kind. Um, yeah, it's the real, what was manifested, what you scripted about, what you visualized, what had dreams about and truly from your heart desired. When something like that type of manifestation becomes real, and it takes time, like moving to a new city, meeting, and we're not going to talk about romantic partners, although today would be the day, but meeting a romantic partner or just meeting people, um, or building something, a business, it takes time. It takes time. It takes time to develop relationships, business, career, friendships, romantic, with a pet. It takes time to build the dynamic. There's so much to it. And if we look at the things that most of the things that you're manifesting, even relationships with money, some of us are, yeah, you need it, but you're not willing to approach it as a relationship, you know? How do you feel? Do you feel like, do you have a thing? Do you like dislike people with money? Um, I don't mean billionaires, but like somebody you know who seems to like have money. You know? A lot of people dislikes billionaire. That's another conversation. But people, who seem to be well off, people you see, on these apps and things like that, and they just seem to always have money. There's somebody I follow, Angie Belmar. I've talked about it before because I have her the Daily Grind. I've been following her for a couple years. She got me with her Christmas decorations years ago, and I love all things home decor. This woman, her life is something that I love. I still want to be a Disney bitch one day. I want to be a Disney adult and make people sick. I'm cool with that. um she has a home in Orlando and like on a Disney property, and they also have a home in Canada, and they just moved into like some out of the nowhere somewhere in like places in Canada. I don't know. I've been to Canada twice, but I don't know where she's at. I've been to Toronto twice. She's not there. She's someplace else, up in the middle of the wildness somewhere, and in a log cabin house. Um, they call them cottages, by the way. I learned that from her. But looking at her life, I mean, I'm looking at the stuff she's doing, her content, but like you're looking at her life, and when she's like in Florida house and how it's decorated, and like the life that she's choosing to share with us, because there's more to her life, obviously, than what we see. But when I see that, I don't think, uh, I can never have anything like that. I don't think, why do people like that get this and I don't? I don't think like that. Um, if you're doing fine, and there's no shame, if you're finding yourself kind of looking at people like that, you might want to, if you're working money spells, you're gonna need to check that. You got to check that. That's something you got to start examining. Where's this coming from? Let's go deeper than envy. Where is this? This is coming from a lack mindset, because ultimately you don't think you're worthy of having this type of life. You might not even want exactly what she has, but whatever your ideal situation is. Um, yeah, it's a lack thing. I never thought of it that way, like a relationship. Yeah, is a relationship thing. And then once you start thinking, like, you have to change your mindset around money. And I know people talk like that, but like, get into the real stuff. Like, how do I feel? Like, if one of your friends, you're not doing great right now, or you're just getting by, and somebody you personally know seems to be doing great, if they don't give you any money and they're in a position they could give it to you, how does that make you feel? And there's no right or wrong about this. Whatever comes up to the surface is telling you your ideas about money. When you think about other people having money, or when you think about when you do get money, how do you act? Do you spend it all immediately? Do you hoard money? Um, do you, if things are going well and it hasn't been going well, do you have this dread, even though things are good, that the rug's going to be pulled up from under you? That was me. You almost were afraid to enjoy. You always thought of these hypotheticals for no dang on reason, with just like the happiest moment that you had because you finally have this money. You kept thinking something horrible would happen and would all go away, and you were afraid to really enjoy it because it would just stop. That was my thing for the longest time, and I had to get that under control. Once I got that under control, by the way, all that magic I was talking about, like the benefits of I noticed that kind of happened. I start building a relationship with money, a positive relationship with money. But a lot of us, listen, the type of parents that we have, the people we grew up around, how they talked about money, um, you know, it'll skew you, as an adult, yourself, and you gotta be willing to examine it. And it's not, listen, and it's evolving because things happen. You could have, we understand money is a currency. It flows, And sometimes, the account's getting a little low. Things are happening. You had the money and you spent it on the things that needed to happen. And other things start happening, and you're like, hey, wait, I need time to rebuild. Um, have a good relationship with money, because then you can attract the money. And it's not a thing that you're just saying affirmationally. No, you really believe it. I've been talking about this, I think, for a past year, like randomly bringing this up. One of the things I've graduated to is resources, not just cash, but resources. If I want to take a trip, if I want to go do this, if I want to buy this, if I want to experience something, instead of me thinking about the money, I think about what resource can I use to make this happen. And once I started doing that, I just, I live on vibes. And I'm living well. I learned from my dad that when someone gives you something, you have to give back as soon as possible, even if they aren't expecting anything in return. I'm getting over it, but I still need to work on it. If someone gives you something, give it back. Okay, so I hear what you're saying. But what are okay, so for some of us who struggled with hyper independence, when some of us, it's hard to receive. So when someone actually legitimately gives you something, money, gifts, cat, whatever, a lot of us do have the urgency to want to repay you as soon as we can. And I know, coming from like that older generation, they don't like anybody having something over them or having a debt to someone, because it can ruin relationships, having this debt. One of the things that, because I have this resource mindset, I've had to honestly let go of that. I believe you when you tell me don't worry about it. Well, I believed you. You told me not to worry about it. You told me have at it. Here, no, I'm not looking for you to repay me. Just take it. I believe people when they tell me that. And I'm grateful. I believe you. But in turn, how this works is that I can be there in a matter of ways. Maybe I'm able to repay in the very same way that they gifted me with something. Maybe it's like for like, or maybe it's in another way. Um, Being resourceful as I am as a witch, I have a lot of ways that I've been able to sort of reimburse uh, people and things like that in situations. And it might not, it's in unlikely ways. So, yeah, like my sister, during the tumultuous times of college with my kids, she shared money, to help with my kids, my daughter. And years later, she has these babies that I adore and love, and I try to share with them all the time. Matter of fact, I gotta send some Robux to her son because that's a thing, and he's turning 11, so it'll be gone in probably a handful of minutes. But I like to be rich auntie with him, so I'm gonna hook him up for his birthday. That's coming up later in the month. Um, Same thing with the twin girls. I'm the auntie. I love being a resource for them, and I really enjoy giving. I don't even care about getting anything back. I don't. I just love seeing those kids happy. I don't care that they don't need to be like, oh, thank you, and do a song and dance. I don't care. I just know that I like knowing they experienced it. Like the girls for their birthday last year, I think it was, or the year before, they wanted to be princesses. So I ordered real princess attire for them. I got their fits together like the official princess, not no fake stuff, like real princess clothing and shoes, shiny shoes and tiaras and jewelry and everything. And they wore those for 2 years. They were yeah, it was 2 years ago. So they wore it for 2 years, um, or a year. Yeah, a year, not two. Yeah, one is smaller. They're twins, but one is smaller. So she was a little bit in it. She grew into the costume, um, and I buy them makeup and all the girly stuff. So let me see what you're saying here. The first few, so Dylan is saying for instance, the first few months of our neighbor being here, she would bring us food over out of the kindness of her heart, and my dad bought her a big ass grill. So thank you. That's nice. Like she gave us like less than 12 meals, and he spent like over $500 on a grill. It seems like a polarity, and the only way to break away it is to accept that money comes and goes. Yeah, and to receiving it freely. Um, yeah, it's currency. It's just a currency. That's why I focus on resource because I feel like I've healed a relationship I had around money and my lack mindset because I had that rug being pulled under me type energy for a while. Like I'm working it and I'm powerful enough and I know how to do this, but I'm still battling this other part of me that thinks he's all going to be taken away. Come on, you can't, you got to be a witch about your business. You got to know if I spend it, it'll come back. So that's how I operate, by the way, because I know how to do it now. And timing is key. I mean, I'm not trying to be reckless with money, because I think that's not being grateful if you're always reckless. I mean, hey, I have my YOLO moments too, like everybody else, but I don't, y'all know what I'm saying. Let's get to this Wicked City. Ooh, we. Okay. So, Wicked City is a series started in 2022. The big name attached to the series is Vanessa Bell Calloway. If you don't know who she is, if you remember Eddie Murphy's movie Coming to America, the iconic scene where the princess that he was supposed to marry, he tells her to bark like a dog and hop on one foot. That's her. She's aged gracefully beautiful. I love her. She's looks juicy, and she is a high priestess of a coven. Wicked City is black, blickety blickety black, and I like it. Watching the first two, I'm going to talk about the first two seasons because it would be hard to talk about all the seasons in this short period of time. But it start there the themes of the first two seasons are death magic, um, um, and just magic, and the coven members being tested in ways they had never thought. Um, if you're a fan of shows like Charmed, this is your show. Um, the young cast, some are queer, and I love that. There are sex scenes with the queers as well as the heteros, so there's that. There is some violence and there's cursing, and when I'm watching it, I'm not thinking the entire time, oh, these are black people. And I'm bringing this up for a reason. I'm thinking, damn, this is good. Like, this is so good. And I'm taking notes and writing it down. And uh, it's just, it's a story. I'm already like the characters. I have my favorites. I completely became immersed in the storyline. And yeah, I like the show. Uh, I'm not a fan of the transition sometimes that they do, but I realize that's a style that is happening across the board. So it's not because it's a black show, it's because that seems to be the style that we're doing transitions from scene to scene now. I'm just not a fan. I think I came from an era where they did the movies differently and series differently. I'm literally watching series that took place years before they started doing how they do the new way. Because if you watch literally any new thing that's coming out, it's I don't know how to explain about the transitions. It's like a hard transition. I don't know. She was also in All My Children. I didn't know that. It's on Amazon Prime. The link, if you are looking for it, is in the description so you can find this series. So they just show, I don't know, because it's new to me. I don't want to look ahead, but they just put season 4 in. So you got content. So I'm not leading you into something that's is only one dang on season. It's 4 seasons. So I'm up to season 2, 1 and 2. So the characters, I don't want to give too much away, but My favorite character out of this entire series, I think, is well, there's a couple to shoot. I can't. Charisse is my favorite. So Charisse is the stripper, and she has a her magic is that the power of influence. Now, mind you, when you meet these witches, we're meeting them where they're at. More happens in their powers. I mean, I think you can just infer their powers are going to grow, and there's a reason they're where they're at, um, and not further along in their personal magic. But she's an influencer, so being a stripper and having the power of siren type energy where you can just speak some words and the person will do what you say. So she had money. She was doing okay. She liked being a stripper. I think that's part of her siren type energy. She there's a connection to that. You're going to want to be admired. A good amount of the series, you just see her naked, half naked. She got on some lingerie or something like that, and I'm here for it. Body was tea. Um, and I love the way she talks. Being an up north girly myself, I talk with my hands, and I think it's more toned down. It was probably when I was younger a lot more intense. And she reminds me of those girls I wanted to be when I was like a kid, like young teenager. Just like I love the way she talks. I like that. Like she sounds like a New York girl that went to move to Atlanta. If you get, hopefully you get what I mean. I love that. I love that. I love the way she talks. I love that up north accent that some people said sound aggressive. I don't know. That's sexy to me. I think that's sexy. But I'm from up north. She is by far my favorite character. Uh, Very close second is Claudette. Claudette is our evil person in the first season. She's you're gonna meet her and find out. Claudette's makeup, that lip, the way she do her mouth, I can't even imitate it, so I'm not gonna try. If you watch this series, that alone, like her facial expressions, her emoting goes crazy. She should be a villain for everything. Like I wish we lived in a different world where she could be the evil stepmother in like a Disney movie. Like she gives the honey, she gives it because she's one thing about the evil like witches and things like that. They always have a story. There's a reason they became evil. Just keep that in mind when you're watching this. There's a reason for that. People don't, do you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Anyway, so there's a reason for that. There's a backstory. We do explore that. But those are my very two favorite characters. My least favorite characters, in the beginning on season one, um, was Jordan. She's the awkward girl. And she's an empath of sorts. She can sense magic. And she's struggling because she wants an active power. And that's how they get into a lot of what they get into where they're being, it becomes very life and death real quick on her seeking to grow her magic. She wants to be useful. She wants to seek power beyond just sensing magic. She wants to have like kind of like if you think charm, like the active power thing, she kind of wants something like that. Um I don't want to say I dislike her. She was getting on my nerves a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I think that's one of the reasons uh in my coven, we talk about this, having like a very young person coming in, like, because she's a coven member and, she's a member. She's not the high priestess, obviously. And as someone who is a high priestess of a coven, I, I, I got why Tabitha, that's the name of the character Vanessa Bell Calloway plays, Tabitha. I love that name. Uh, she kind of talks to her almost like a mother, like, girl, what are you doing? Get over here. Jordan, come here. Like, talk like that. And I get that because you would kind of get on my nerves a little bit with that, like constantly like begging to get all this additional power. Girl, what you need it for? You better, like, you got anxiety, you awkward all the time. Last thing you need is extra power. You need to get yourself under control. But that's me. That's me. Like, why don't we work on you learning how to ground yourself and not be so jumpy and breathing heavy all the dang on time and being a little bit more confident? and then we can help you. But anyway, that was she's not a bad character. She just got on my nerves. But anyway, there's a couple things that I made notes about this series. I just kind of want to give this overview about characters and stuff like that I liked. Um, I love seeing all the different types of bodies represented: tall, thick, short, not so thick, more muscular. It's just so, light brown, darker. Like it was magical seeing these women. It's magical. Um, so one of the things that happens, there were a couple things that were said. So there was a resurrection done. I'm not going to tell you who or what, but a resurrection was done. Basically, somebody died and were resurrected. And the message that they received, the person who had died and came back to life that was resurrected, was death will follow you back. And that's something I've thought about. I thought about that. Death will follow you back. So in the world of death magic, if you're not like, if that's not your forte, but you are on the receiving end of death magic, meaning some sort of resurrection, and we're going to use the term resurrection loosely. This is a TV, so it's, but resurrection, let's say you want to resurrect something, a talent, a life, yourself. Some of us die a little bit from, the things that life has, not everybody recovers. And you feel like a part of you died. And there are resurrection spells that you can do for that. So when you do that, is it all happy and great? Even if you're kind of, and I'm not saying this like to be scared, like scare anybody, but I truly believe when things have a price, magic has a price. So if you were doing a resurrection spell, assume there's a price to pay of sorts. It doesn't mean something bad. I would just approach it automatically coming in ready to pay. I would have, like I would work with the spirits and everything. And if I was working with others on the, hey, let's all come to a meeting of the minds of what that price is, because I want to know that before I go into this. What is my price? Otherwise, not actual death, but there's that price has to be paid for resurrecting something. Think about like celebrities who have a comeback. They used to be popular and they come back. And there's a price to pay of sorts, like to get back and to be, get in the spotlight again. Let's think like Christina Aguilera is a good one. She was up there, a price was paid. She changed her whole damn face. Like Christine, she looked good, but she to be back, or even to have a comeback and still, being getting booked, and she's on the stage with Sabrina Carpenter and the new talent, to be in these and all the other, I know she's on that show and all the other stuff she does. There was a price that had to be paid. She had to alter herself, whether she wanted to or not. The point is she had to alter herself. If you think about it, I mean, I don't know what other price was, but to be resurrected. I see it like when you just look at celebrity culture, you see that a lot. And they're constantly, some of them, I think the price gets too high and they don't realize it. And then you look like Zac Efron. Anyway. The other thing in my notes here that I want to talk about, the message. So the person that was resurrected, when they was on the side with spirits, they were given a message. And these messages kind of set the tone for the season. And that is, the white will frighten, but the black will destroy. The red will burn it all. I'll repeat that. The white will frighten, but the black will destroy, and the red will burn it all. Though that, of course, they don't know what it, and they're like, what does this mean? And each thing happened, and they figured out, who, what these events were. But they tell you in the beginning, like, this, they're giving it all to you right there. Well, of course, we don't know what that means, and neither do the characters at first. But I love how, in true witchy ways, it was weaved. The story was just it was beautiful how it was done and how we would come back to these statements. So you're watching all this different stuff and these other characters having these side quests, and then we come back to those things. It was good how they did. I love how they did that actually. Yes, like the price to be paid is the change you have to make to get there. Yeah, I mean, I think for that, we're talking about celebrity status and things like that. Um, wait, what are we talking about? Zach had a skateboarding accident where he hit his face on something, so he had to get surgery on his face. Oh yeah, that's the time. That's what they said. That's what I've heard. In other celebrity gossip, that's maybe not so true. And even after that, he got more work done. He got the same thing that Leonardo DiCaprio did, where what they did, it makes their head real big or something. I don't know. That's up there with Australian actress Nicole. Is it Nicole? Why didn't I think this lady's name? Practical Magic, the redhead. I'm struck. I'm fight. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The way she looks now, she looks scary now, but that's her price. I believe that's her price. It's different, I'm just using that because that's an example we all might know. I love how they weave the story together. The resurrection spell. So I want to talk about some magic too. Nicole Kidman, thank you. The resurrection spell. So these were the words they used because, come on, I wanted to share that with y'all. Taker of life, from light to dark, accept our offering to renew and repair a life that was taken on just unfair. I'm going to repeat that. Taker, because they were chanting this together. Taker of life from light to dark, accept our offering to renew and repair a life that was taken on just and unfair. Yeah. Maybe I wrote that wrong, but you get it. I'm like, wait, I gotta watch that scene again, make sure I got it right. And then there was an unbinding spell. With the power in me, I unbind thee. Let your magic flow free. Oh, there's magic happening in this. So we're not just doing, thank you, also, Sunflower and Thistle. It's not a thing where they're just, it's very reminiscent of Charmed. So you're seeing like the active powers and they're doing some special effects and things like that. So you are getting that. And that's fun. I like seeing that. So, yeah, that was something I wanted to tell you. And then, oh my God. So one of the characters is a obvious like Earth Witch, Green Witch, Angela. Love her. Love her aesthetic. She's got these super long locks and they're like different color blonde and they're like really long. And sometimes she wears it up and half up and stuff like that. And she's like, a lot of times we see her, she seems high. Well, come on, she's an earth mama. She's a green witch. She knows what herbs to do and what, how much. And, if she wants to be, feeling good, she's going to feel good because she knows exactly what to use to make herself feel good and giddy and happy. Love that. So, she's also one. I love that magic because that's tapping a little closer to my wheelhouse. And she creates this. She's working on this potion. We see her kind of in the midst of testing out this potion, and the potion takes you into a dream state where you heal trauma, but you heal it in a safe way, and you're gonna have a resolution. So it's presented to you. It's your mind, but it takes you there, and you're safe. Have you ever heard of YouTube Hedge Hearth? No, I might. Hedge, Hearth, and Harvest. No, but let me make a note of that now that you said it. Let me make a quick note because now I'm curious. I like stuff like that. Yeah, Hedge, Hearth, and Harvest. Thank you, Gemstones. I will look into that because I'm always down for that. But anyway, so that's a potion that she's working on, and it's more to that. There's a reason she's working on that, by the way, because she wants to help somebody. But she's also like a dealer. People come to her for psychedelics because they're safe because she knows what she's doing. Also, she's a green witch with degrees too, like chemistry, biology. Like she knows her stuff. I love the room that she's in, and she has like a chalkboard behind her, but it's not it's beautiful. I love her space that she's in. And plants, of course, are everywhere. I I love the scenes that she's in. And she in season two really kind of steps out. But right now I'm just talking season one. Um, yeah, so it's for processing trauma. And I was like, that is amazing. I love that they even approached that. Um, the other thing is, they did use Ogun for protection. They did call on Ogun for protection work, and they referenced the West African symbol for protection. So I love that. They did a locator spell, which was pretty cool. And they were using, what we're used to, like having like a map out and like a crystal or something like that. So I like seeing that happen. And then there was something about transferring powers, and it went like blood of the one of which power comes, blood of the one to which power goes. Um, and then the power of living and dead unite. Like, I don't know, that got me. Those are some of the magical things that I wanted to talk to you about because I think these could be used in spells. Pop culture magic is fun. Um, season two, season two, they we would get astrology references take place in season two. There's a planetary alignment that happens every 50 years. It's Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn alignment, and a full moon. So that was exciting. um, and the plot of season two is I'll just let you know now. Oya, the Orisha or goddess Oya, um, is part of it. That it's a whole thing. I won't give it away, but I kind of appreciate that. Now I've always had a healthy reverence and respect for that specific Orisha, especially when I lived in Florida with hurricane season and all that. I would reach out and be like, um, hey, so can, if you don't mind, could you not let it be us, please, or the people I love, or I mean, honestly, anybody, but like, please don't, you know, I was in my home in a multiple, yeah, I've been in Florida during hurricanes, actual like tropical storms and actual hurricanes, where one, trees fell, tornadoes spring up, by the way, so that's a horrible experience, and lights go out and just craziness and flooding and all that sort of stuff. I've survived them. I definitely called on Aaliyah for that. Um, there is a character that's gonna come in. She's like, we think she's part of the bad one of the bad people in season one, and she comes back in season two. Of course, as I said, anybody in any story who is the evil one, or seems to be on that team, there's a backstory. There's a reason they're there. So we discover her reason, and she's prominent in season two. And in season two, she becomes up one of my favorites. She is so freaking pretty. Her name is Carlitra. Yeah, Carlitra. And when I first heard her name, Carlitra, I was like, Carlitra. It just, I don't know. I kept saying, I love when they kept saying her name, Carlitra. Um, she's tall, like, she looks so like her. She looks like a black Barbie, like the OG black Barbie doll, Christy. That's who she looks like to me. Her makeup, by the way, makeup game is impeccable on this show. Everybody, like, it fits the character. She's like tall, model, very fit, thin, very beautiful melanated skin, deep, rich melanin skin. I love her in season two with her hair. It's like with the braided styles, and she's got the little baby hair swigglies and all that. It's just cute. But she's not cute. She don't get cute. She's like a force. Um, dig her whole aesthetic. I like she's like, don't like, she will kill you. Don't mess with her. I love that about her. Um, she's playing a prominent role in season two. I don't want to give too much away about that, but they bring up something called a goddess stone. And this goddess stone is going to be used to bring about a goddess. It's one of the instruments that's going to be needed for this ritual during the planetary alignment. So, and you just see this stone, and it kind of looks like it's a crystal. I couldn't tell what it is. It looks white. This is what I'm using. I keep this around. This is like my stress crystal, happy crystal. My daughter gifted this to me a while back. So this, anyway, but it's like this. It's like, like, I don't know. I want want to say something in the Quartz family. I don't know. And it's just amazing to me how they're using this stone, and they never really did just call it a goddess stone. And then there's something that looks like an amethyst crystal, and like raw, and like I don't know, it's a whole other thing with that. So crystals are involved as well. And there's other magical instruments being used as well, like a magical knife that when it stabs you, you don't necessarily die. The people around you look like you're dead, but actually, you're basically trapped in this dream state, and it's a nightmare. You're living a nightmare, so it's like hell, which really had me thinking about afterlife and my thoughts on that again. And like, a lot of people believe your heaven is what you want it to be, and I'm using the term heaven loosely. Your afterlife is whatever you think it's going to be. If that's what your consciousness believes, that's what you go out with. um I think for people who feel they truly are damned and doomed, I do wonder if that's going to be. You do need to watch it. It's a very good, like, it's really good. Season two really, I mean, I thought season one was pretty good, but season two really surprised me, and the effects got better. They weren't bad, but I think they got even better in season two. I'm gonna just say that. But it really made me think about that, like life, death, and the afterlife, and all that a little bit more. I've thought about it in the past, but I really was thinking about it from that point of view after that. They were stuck in these nightmares because they had things that they felt guilt about, and yeah, things that they were fearful about. So that was the nightmare. Um, and they had to break through that to get out, but that's another thing, kind of. Um, and then I wanted to talk about the ritual. Well, actually, before I talk about the ritual, there's something, because these are all black witches. There is some males, small amount, that are involved. It's mostly these women, kind of like Charmed, right? If you think about it, the cast was mostly women, and then, the occasional men were involved, usually in the form of demons with them. But, anyway, there are some men involved in this. And there was something that they addressed, and I'm glad it was a one and done. It came up a couple times because the concept of being like in chain and enslaved. So at one point, one of the characters is confronted by their daughter, and they say, and the guy, he's a bad guy in this season two, and they said that he's got this inflated quest. His ego is ridiculous. He's very powerful. He's been alive for a very long time. They take us back to the 1800s, but he's been alive since before then. And so he's alive during slavery time. He's not enslaved because, I mean, he's super powerful. He didn't like the idea that witches had to be they couldn't live out in the open. I mean, you can they had a store, and they sold witchy things, and an occult shop, but kind of like today, you walk into an occult shop, metaphysical store, spiritual store. Not everybody walks in there thinking it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people think, oh, there's other people that feel, y'all know what I'm talking about. You've encountered this. So you can be a real witch working and, doing that because, nobody thinks it's really real. But if people realize it, like what they're saying, it was real, there would be ramifications. Now, everybody's black. So at no point until we get to a little bit more in season two are you even aware of witches that are not black. You kind of see other people of color, and there's going to be a scene to reflect that. But for the most part, is that, they are black, and they're in their community with other black witches, so that's who they get down with. And they basically said that if they try to rise up against the mundanes, and these are the black witches, if they try to rise up against the mundanes, there's more of them than it is of us. And they do address the slavery aspect of it and said there are people who are enslaved who are also witches. And you gotta, but here's the thing. Remember, I described a character who didn't have an active power. They were more, they had like the, in an empath wheelhouse where they sensed power, but they also, they would grow and realize they actually had a lot more to it. But it wasn't something where like they could put their hand up and you know, it was, think very Phoebe in the beginning. Um, Premonitions, that type thing. Um, I mean, how do you fight? I mean, you could see it coming and hopefully be ahead of the game. That's your power. But, you know, I mean, if the mundanes wanted to round us up, they could. You know, they could. And that was the point that they're making. So, like, if you expose us all, we'll never be safe. We'll always be at war with them because they will either want to kill us, and some of us, they will want to use us for their purposes. It's just not a thing, you know, where we can ever really be safe and really come out. And he didn't like that, you know, for none of them like that, you know, and we were enslaved. So they basically addressed that part of it. There's conflict about that. There is a council, and the council, they technically could have did something about slavery. They didn't. That was one of the issues. Just to let you know. um, but there was a ritual for raising a goddess, so I wrote down what they said. It's not real, okay? Then give me a couple strands of your hair. I know that's right. Um, it said, so they would say in this ritual, in this sacred space at this sacred time, we call the storms and winds of change. We call forth the goddess Oya into this vessel, and they just repeated that last line. We call forth the goddess Oya into this vessel multiple times. And there was like instruments and tools used and things like that. It was so cool how they did that ritual, by the way. I liked it. So that was a ritual I wanted to talk about, because if this was to raise a goddess, now hopefully you're not out here trying to raise. Invoke is not to raise, right? Okay. um, so that was, yeah. Let me see, what other notes do I have here? So season 2 ends with a lot of foreshadowing of what new enemy will be coming in the future. I like that. I love a cliffhanger. Um, and then who was the evil person in season 1? We kind of got comfortable. Like, you get comfortable, like, oh, there's been a character development and growth. And I think season 2 alludes to, are you sure about that? um, and then there's going to be a new character, because I could, like, something that had nothing to do with anything pops up. Um, well, there's a reason for that, but I don't want to give it away because I want y'all to watch it. Um, and I'm gonna go into seasons 3 and 4, and I'll come back and I'll talk about that. But boy, and so if you want to watch it, get into it, because I'm gonna be talking about it coming up. I'm really excited about this series, and it's hard for me to get excited about stuff lately, because it's hard to get excited about things sometimes that's on TV. Just like that Charmed episode where Phoebe accidentally revealed that witches existed, and it was kind of like the witch trials all over again. Yeah, it would not work out. I mean, okay, one of the best thing, okay, political rant coming, because I know some you might have heard by now about the sitting president creating a faith council or faith office in the White House, and they want to protect the Christians. So they're looking for anything that's anti-Christian or something. I don't know to what end. I don't know if it just represents in the federal government. I don't think so. And y'all know good and well it's not going to just be to the government. But there is something to be said about that, I think. I had talked about I wasn't going to, do so much, and I would continue to try to, as time goes on, I might have to speak more in code about certain things. I think most of us will have to. I'm just going to say that. I think it's inevitable, because the sickness is spreading. I'll just say that the sickness is spreading. It's a freaking disease of ignorance, and so many people are just willingly happy to be freaking ignorant because as long as they think they're benefiting, oh well. Deja Brew by Celestine. Yeah, Celestine Martin. I have reviewed her other books. This is book three in a series. And this is, I wish I would have read it back in October. It's fall vibes, but I love it. First of all, I love the cover. I love the cover art. So cool. It is definitely giving kind of like very light romance. Um, so it's a series. So there's a family of black witches. The thing about this book, and I talked about the series before, Martin doesn't do this thing where she's not addressing any politics. She's not addressing anything. If you're looking for a book with some romance and it's low level spicy, with the romance, just so you know, it's not like, yeah, it's cozy, cozy romance. Um, she doesn't do this thing where race is coming up. The characters are black and you're getting the story. There's just a story. They're just living. In the same way, I mean, I hope as a black person you walking around just living your life and the whole time you're not thinking, oh, I'm a black person doing this. Oh, look at me being black walking here. Like, I mean, I've been black for a long time. So I already know, anyway. So I don't think like this. That's why it's always jarring when I'm interrupted in my life and someone points out to me, oh, I didn't know black people did this. Yes, I've had ignorant people. I wish it was just one time, but it's happened across and multiple times. Someone will tell me what they didn't think a black person did because they know all blacks. Um, but this book just gives you the story. They're black characters. There's no definitive black thing. You know what I'm saying? Like or like, yeah, you know how they are. We're in a magical world. There's gnomes that exist. There's fairies. There's mermen. Like, you know, they live in a Jersey beach town, which is near and dear to my heart. I'm from Jersey, and I would vacation in beach towns. But they live in a Jersey Shore beach town, and it's called Freya Grove. They just call it the Grove, and it was founded, and a lot of odd ducks would go there, so magical people started coming there, and it's made up of a lot of magical people, and I should say magical beings, um, and they're safe there, and the mundanes are in and out. And I read this as somebody who's working on something where I'm having a similar type of setting. um, I reading this again was nice. It helped me, um, to kind of again remind myself how that's done. So the mundanes are there, but it's not like, and they have witchy stores, and like it's like kind of like a Salem type situation where you have all these things that show you kind of overt witchcraft, but again, just like right now we have occult shops, metaphysical stores, the public is not like freaking out like, oh my god, the witches. It's not like that. You just assume it's a story and it's not real. um so that's the basis of this as well. But the romance between them, one of this I think this was my favorite book out of the series, because I enjoy the characters. They call her Sai. I like her a lot. And Gus, who is short for August. First of all, I didn't realize how much I like the name August, for a man. Yeah, Serena. Serena Rachel Caraway. I wanted to get her full name. Serena Rachel Caraway. So she's one of the Caraway, is the family. And they're all these like really known witches, from their grandmother's time. But she's a kitchen witch. So we're getting the story from a kitchen witch. Again, getting closer to my wheelhouse as a cottage witch. And oh my god, she's struggling with confidence. If you've ever had a magical slump that was just like kind of turning disastrous. Um okay, so She said Buku Wakamu. Oh, girl, I'm sorry. I'm destroying your name. The way I was literally just talking about this with my friend, wanting to read a book with black people where blackness is not like the thing. Sometimes I don't want to deal with all that. There's three books in this series, girl, and it's low level spicy. So if you're not really into all that, but you want a cute, it's a cozy. It's they're definitely cozy stories. Um, it's not what they call urban fiction. Gnomes, yes, there's gnomes. Oh, book two, by the way, if that's the ones with a lot of gnomes. If you're yeah, I think it was a book. I think it's book two. Or is it book one? Girl, just read series. You'll see. Yup, odd ducks. um, but yeah, Serena Rachel Caraway is a kitchen witch, and she was trained by her grandmother, and her grandmother, and it comes like in the book, she's constantly saying kitchen rule, kitchen witch rule. And this is how her grandmother would talk to her. Kitchen witches always clean up their mess. And she would like do the stern voice whenever she repeated this, or when she thought about what in her grandmother's deceased. And she was feeling really lost. Putting on your wish list, you should. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited if you have that. I think the first one is. I'm not sure. I thought it was, but anyway, I've heard a negative review on Book Talk about the first book in the series. The person said they didn't love it, and it was a little slow, but it was their first book. I think book three, actually, the pacing was right on time for me. um I don't know. I give people a chance. You just download it. Yeah, it's good. Book one, the pacing, it was a little slow. I'm not going to hold you. It was. But I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the story. And I wanted the cozy. And I just wanted my characters to be black without making it black a thing. Like you said, I just wanted to immerse me into your world. Make me believe it. That's what I got from Wicked City, by the way. There's a theme here. When I walked into the spiritual store that was black owned, I didn't want to be reminded that I'm a black person. We were all just spiritual black women. The person helping me, and there was actually a person in the store. But I went there before, and there were Caucasians in the store at one point, because I've been there several times. There, I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's like it's ASU area. Like, there's a lot of white people. Arizona's mostly white people, so they're there. So their customers are not only black folk. But when I was there this time, it was just us black folk in there, just she and I at one point. So we had a nice conversation and everything, talked about travel and all that sort of stuff. Um, Follow them on Instagram. You can see some of the people. Anyway, so yeah, it's a cool store. But coming into a space, and just whether it's through media, whether it's a book, whether it's a movie or a series, and you're just seeing people similar to you, just in the story, immersed and getting, and that's what it's about, seeing a slice of life, this story, this fantasy, this rom-com, whatever, and just being able to just like immerse yourself and relate, because you see someone, who kind of looks like you. And being you can slip so far into it. And I don't know, that's what I crave. I want the same type of book, but for gay men, but not making gay the thing. Yes. Okay. Dang. There's a book I read. There's a series. I gotta remember this series. Damn, what was it called? It was an anthology book, and I cannot remember the author. There is a story in the anthology where the characters, they are gay. I don't think they did a gay thing. I think they just talked about the story. Like, he's a character in the series of books. He's like the bartender. But they give him his own story in this anthology, and his own romance story. And I read this, and I enjoyed that particular. I enjoyed all the stories, but I definitely enjoyed that one. That was actually one of my standouts. I will try to remember. It was just a story in other stories, and not an entire book. So I can't speak to that. But I'm very open to reading, and I've kind of shared that with like queer romance fiction and things like that. I'm a curious person. I like different kinds of stories. I like romance and love, and I'm not really big on it has to be heterosexual. You know what I'm saying? Like, hmm. So I'll keep my eyes out because I'm that's kind of in my wheelhouse. I read a lot of things, so I'm good with that. Gemstone says I read YA series called The Poison Heart, which is a queer black story centered around Hecate and plant magic. Girl, I don't. I would. Ooh, that sounds good. I don't typically like YA. I feel like it's like it'll be good, but I'm not getting enough. That's what I feel when I read a lot of YA novels. It's like, oh, this is good. I want. There's something I'm missing. I can't tell you what it is. Um, but I'm willing to take a chance. TK says I just finished I'll Come Back for You by Cherish Reed. It's a witchy book with romance. I love that. I love, first of all, paranormal romance is my thing. I love it. Cozy, a paranormal cozy mystery with romance is peak Mika. That is actually a good murder mystery, cozy. I don't do the true crime because that's what I'm finding I enjoy actually writing more. I like because I love that. I'm a girl who loves a cozy mystery. I've been reading Agatha Christie is where I started in middle school. I started reading Agatha Christie, and I also followed with Harlequin romance novels, and my worlds combine. And then the whole witchy thing was always brimming, so yeah, that is definitely my favorite thing. Reading that, but I did a couple things in the book that I wanted to point out to you guys before I keep rambling on about all these other things. Um, okay, so this is a note. This I'm going to read this part, and it's just something to keep in mind. She says Ursula helped Serena make a whole vision board, and she even wrote her intention in permanent gold marker. That's the point I want to make, gold marker. The color that invited success and prosperity into one's life. So if it's February and you still wanted to make your own vision board, maybe throw some gold in there. Make a, write in a gold marker since that represents prosperity into one's life and success. I like that. I wanted to share that with you guys. I like getting insights from these books on like magic and things like that. Um, pop culture magic. Um, this is one of the rules that she got. Rule one. So we're introduced to this. Rule one: kitchen witches always cook for their families. And I was like, that's what the grandma taught her. you know Maybe not all the time, but I get it. I know what she was saying. And her family is not like husband kids, it's like her sisters, cousin, and they come over. Yeah, I just want a gay by Dracula story. Okay, so you want something else. You want something else. They exist. I know they are. You're gonna have to like really, you might need to like dip into book talk and find your niche because they're out there. But I thought that was fun. That was rule number one. We're introduced to this rule that, she would remember from her grandmother. Um, I thought that was funny. I was like, they always cook for their family. And then rule 43, kitchen witches only cry when cutting onions. It's kind of like, there's no crying in baseball type thing. Um, a kitchen witch who didn't want to cook was like a shark that didn't want to swim. So think about your magic. Do you have an expertise? Do you have a strong pool? Maybe you don't claim it. Maybe you don't want to call yourself a kitchen witch. Maybe you don't want to call yourself a glamour witch or love magic witch or whatever. Maybe you're just really great at manifesting things. So maybe you don't want to call yourself a manifesting witch, but that's your forte. If you can see it, it can happen, Um, do you have rules around that? Think about that, because once you sort of claim, it doesn't mean you're always going to be married to that particular thing, but once you sort of claim your craft of sorts, so that's where you are right now, like, do you have a set of rules around it? This made me think about this reading this book, like, what are mine? I don't know. As a cottage witch, there is crying involved. I was like, you're allowed to cry. Crying is releasing. Tears are magical. Like each tear represents uh just releasing, and there whatever you're releasing, each of those tears is just more of that just leaving you and allowing you to be at peace, even through grief, even if it's temporary. That's one of my rules. There is crying in cottage witchery. There might be a book for you called Blood Orange by Karina Hall. Oh, there you go. See? There you go. So that was something that stood out to me with that one. Her like things where she would just like spout out these rules. Rule 13, kitchen witches make sure everyone leaves with a plate after a family dinner. I was like, okay. I mean, these are not my rules. I'm just this is what she said. um let's see, there was something I noted here. One second. Oh, I love the way they describe the scent of this kitchen witch. She smelled fresh. So there's the point of view. So there's two point of views in this book. There's going to be from Gus and then Serena's point of view, August, aka Gus, point of view. And he says at one point she smelled fresh and woody, like shredded ginger and lemon slices. First of all, to be a kitchen witch, to think about that and smell like shredded ginger, like fresh ginger and lemon, that is an intoxicating scent. Ginger and lemon, good enough to eat. And now that's where he was going with that. It is romance. um, what was the other thing here? Oh, there's the thing she talked about phoenixes. So I'm just going to read this excerpt here. She says, what did the family spell book? There's a family spell book. What did the family spell book say about phoenixes? The bird, a symbol of rebirth, could live for over 500 years before setting itself on fire. But it was reborn from the ashes to start its next life. Okay, she didn't believe in signs, but she knew how to recognize them. How could she not see that this gift was meant to be? So there's a gift where she's going to get like a stuffed animal phoenix or something like that. And I thought that was pretty interesting on how she like there's like magical elements in the fiction, and that's what I'm trying to share with you guys. I just love your top in here. Oh, thank you, Theta Robinson. Thank you. That was, Venus Day, Valentine's Day. I wanted to give. The only makeup I have on right now is just lipstick. And I read this thing that if you wear red, well, this is like a hot pink, but in that wheelhouse, if you don't have any other makeup on, I did fill in my brows a little bit and all, but nothing else because I'm terrified to put anything on my face after having some sort of allergic reaction. My face just got to normal size. So anyway, um, beauty tip. We talked about this in my coven, and I've also read about this as well. But red lipstick or something reddish will make your skin look clear, even though you don't have on any makeup. And with like my black hair, I dye my hair black hair, and this, the pop of color, it's very enticing. So come to find out, they were right. Also, I have yet to meet. I'm an Aries sun sign. I say this, fire signs. I don't know any fire sign that doesn't look good in red or like reddish pink or like in that will, like no matter who you are, I don't care what your complexion is, they always look good in a red lip. Man or woman, to be honest with you, I feel like that. But thank you. Let's see here. What was the other thing? What was this? People were going to dislike them whether they danced on the full moon or didn't. The full moon or didn't. So they might as well dance freely. Oh, I highlighted that because I like the idea of like, people are gonna not. If you are a closeted witch for whatever purpose, and if you're out and proud witch, I mean, I realize people will just dislike you regardless. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in the closet or not. If especially once they find out that you practice anything pagan, there's some people who are gonna be weird about it regardless. They're gonna think you're weird, and you gotta kind of be okay with it. Um, yeah, I don't. I'm not in the business of trying to convince anybody of anything. I also don't like you're here because you want to be here. I'm not like going out to people and saying, "Hey, you should really go into witchcraft." I mean, I could just to be funny, but I don't want to do that. um, okay, listen to this. This is something I thought was interesting. So this is another excerpt. So she says, so no, Serena's a kitchen witch. August, aka Gus, I'm going to keep saying August, is a magician. That's what they say. And he comes from a family of magicians. So, anyway, Serena watched him for a long beat, not knowing whether to be charmed or on guard. From what she knew about magicians, they learned their magic just like a person learned a musical instrument. The more a magician performed their craft, the better they became at using it. Um, yeah. And I read that and I just thought to myself, well, isn't that true about any practitioner? The more you do it, this is when we get into the conversation of, and I've done videos about this. Are you still a witch if you're not doing any magic? I mean, yeah. I mean, if you feel you're a witch, you're a witch, right? However, it's a practice. It's a working, right? So there's something active taking place, even if it's just happening in your mind. Please don't think in your mind is not work. It is. It most of the magic is taking place in your mind. You have to be. It has to start here. I want to say your mind and your heart. That's why your emotions are involved. Um, I wouldn't discount that, but yeah, actively practicing makes you the better witch. So I mean, you could have been practicing for, I'm somebody who's been practicing magic for a very long time. I've had my magical slumps. I've talked about that. I wouldn't say I wasn't a witch just because I was not actively doing things, but because I do, the more I practice, the better I become as a witch. I'll just say that. So, I mean, accounting for times is just for whether you're sick, things happen, you're emotionally, blah, blah, blah. But practice, do the workings. I'm always up to something magical. Good. Me too. Me too. Even the most. I mean, okay. So one part of cottage witchery is, for me, is that so much of there's just magic. It's the energy in my home that I'm purposely tapping into. It's the way I design things. For a certain frequency. So that's already happening from the moment I open my eyes. I'm in my bedroom. There, right there. I set a tone right there. No matter which way I look, there's magic. Yes, I've had visualizations come true, so it is possible. Exactly. Yeah, it starts here, and then the heart's got to get involved. Some of the strongest manifestations was when I allowed myself to just believe what was in my heart could be mine, you know, and then visualized it and then scripted about it. So there you go. Okay, so there was that. What else did I have in here that I want to tell you guys about? Um, let me see. I made notes, but now I'm looking. I was like, I'd have to read more for you to know what the heck I was talking about. Okay, this is something. Okay, wouldn't this be a fun thing? So at some point in the story, one a magician is talking to a friend of his who would learn that he does have powers. He says, "Yeah, I'm an empath," and he says, "Yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me too. I took one of those legacy and me tests, legacy and me tests." And well, apparently I got some magic in the blood. We've had some interesting talks at our family reunion. So wouldn't it be wonderful if there was really something like that, a legacy in me, and it would tell you about the magic in your family? Oh my God, that's so cool. Like it's something like, ancestry.com, something like that, but it was like for magicians or for magic. Even just cleaning the floor is a magical act for me. Yes, it can. Exactly. Um, Opening the windows, right? Even if it's cold, you light something and that, smudging, if you're doing a smoke cleanse, I should say, and you go to open that window, and just that is so magical, that process, especially over like a ledge and the smoke's going out. Maybe you move it over there, the incense or the whatever you're using, and and just the sweeping motions. If you have a broom, that's a good time to kind of use it through the air. um yeah, that's magical. A legacy of me, yeah, right, legacy of me. So like, I'm reading this, I was like, oh, that would be so cool if we had something like that. um yeah, yeah, I know. Big big thing. So remember I told you, so Serena, the big theme here, and I'm not giving anything away, you're going to learn this very quickly, is that she's really struggling with her magic, being a kitchen witch. She's struggling because she's not feeling like herself, and she's trying, and there's a spell, by the way, that happens immediately. I'm not going to give that to you because that's kind of central to the plot, but anyway, um she really wants to, like, she wants to do it again, and try to write what she think, like, her failures, what she believes is her failures. So this is kind of a theme through the book. And at one point, Gus August says to her something about she's irreplaceable. And then she's now thinking, at this part in the book, what makes you so irreplaceable? And she thinks about it. And then she says, um, she thought about everything she'd achieved and everything she had done in her life. And this is later in the book. Serena showed up and showed out at events for her family, friends, and community. She was the keeper. This is the part. She was the keeper of the hearth and left fresh lavender and sage at the family altar. She invoked the ancestors with every recipe that was handed down to her from Nana. Um, and then, she goes on. And, in that moment, actually, she's going to talk to a spirit, but I don't want to give too much away. But anyway, I know, right? It would be great if it was real. But when she talks about that, she was the keeper of the hearth and left fresh lavender and sage at the family altar. I love that. I have a kitchen altar. I work with Hestia. I don't have an ancestor altar in the kitchen. My I have living elders who taught me how to cook. My mother and my grandmother. Um, yeah. So not there. They're alive, and I can still call them now. um, I haven't asked my. She's 90, and she's dealing with significant memory loss issues, and I don't know if it's a good day. I'm like, she might. And just also hearing issues. By the way, as you get older and your hearing goes out, get that checked. It's a connection to that. If you start losing your hearing, it's a big deal. Um, don't ignore that. Get the hearing aids. Wear the hearing aids. Do what you need to do, because if you continue to go like that, something happens in the brain, and they're finding that's also a connection to dementia. So found that out. But yeah, she can't hear, and I don't know if it's one ear or both. I don't know at this point, because we can't really tell. Because she just, if she don't have those hearing aids in, you are screaming. I'm not saying, yeah, you're screaming, grandma. Like, she's right there. That's how you got to talk. And even then, I don't think she's really hearing you. She's reading your lips. I can tell, because she's like, if you laugh, she laughs. But it's funny. We video call, so yeah. Um, she cracks me up. Spicy old lady too. I love that when company comes, my grandmother will, 90, climb stairs, go put her makeup on, put on her jewelry. She come blinged out, white snow hair. Comes downstairs, she put her fit on, whatever that is gonna be. It might be, very Golden Girl-esque jogging suit, but that's her fit, with her jewelry, rings, necklace, earrings. Um, when people come over, if she's in the mood. Other times, if she ain't in the mood, she ain't coming downstairs. She ain't gonna come say hi to you. It could be a whole party going on. That lady, she's like, I don't want to be around these people, and get them kids away from me. It depends on the mood she in. But when she ready to show up, when I went home to visit over the summer, I said, well, okay. I was like, all right, I know a city girl when I see one. You like, who here? Now, I don't care, dementia or not, memory issues or not, she knew to put them damn clothes on and show up. I appreciate that. May I have that as I get older. I want my old lady swag is gonna hit different. I want to be ridiculously embellished. I plan on wearing even more jewelry. I would probably wear more now, but I'm going through some changes. Like, I don't even have on my Apple Watch. I need a new band because the metal part is doing something to my skin. It's like a dark spot. Like, it healed because I've been not wearing it. Like, I'm getting older is a very interesting concept. Like, what's happening with the body. Like, you've lived one way, you've been able to do all these things, you can't eat certain food, you can't wear certain things on your skin. I don't know what it is. It's like you become very sensitive all of a sudden. It's not for the weak. But Deja Brew, I'm not going to talk about the ending because why would I do that? I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to stop that here. If you're looking for just a cozy, it's fall vibes, and I mean, we're in February. You can still, you can read whatever you want whenever you want, but it came out in October. I'm just late to the game. I'm late to the game with Wicked City. It started in 2022. It was on the All Black Network. I didn't want to pay for the subscription at the time because I had enough stuff. And I'm funny about paying for subscriptions to watch a singular show. So I waited. And I'm okay with that because it's on Prime and I have Amazon Prime, so I watched it there. So no shade to the All Black Network. I'm not like against the All Black Network and streaming it at the time, but it is on Amazon Prime and I have it, so I watched it there. So that's really what it's about. Um, I'm so excited and I needed that. You don't realize sometimes like media or art, we're going to call it art. We need art. That's what separates us from the rest, right? The other creatures, a lot of the other creatures. And some of them have their own art, but we like art. Art feeds our souls. It does something for us. We learn through arts. We have expression. We can relate to other expression. And there's so much to perceive from it all. So I watched the show. You might have a totally different reaction. Some of your favorite, I would love, if you guys start watching it, tell me who you connect to as you watch it. Like which one of these witches you connect to, or the ones you just can't stand, or you're like, oh my God, I could never. Like, I'm very curious what you guys think if you haven't already watched it. Because the perception is just as interesting to me. That's why we like reviews and hearing how other people experienced it. It's part of the human nature to express through arts and to perceive arts. And that's from novels, books, photography, the moving pictures, the movies, the series, and whatever other medium that art. That's why I like grimoires, which leads me to something before I wrap up, because I've been on here for 2 hours, did not realize that, but I'm making up for Wednesday. I'm talking about 3 separate things, so I figure I'll be here for a while. And happy Valentine's Day if I didn't say it. So, I've been working. I've been cooking up some magic. I created the first, well, it's going to be a series, but I've created 3 that are going to be for sale very soon. And of course, I'll be announcing when and all that stuff. I feel comfortable talking about it because I've actually completed them. And I'm waiting for my mock-up of the first one, and the other 2, I'm finishing that up too with the cover art and all that sort of stuff. So they're all going to be available for sale though. So I've created some Book of Shadows. So what inspired me was, remember I talked about this. I talked about this, and I talked about this. This is like a replica. I got this off of Shein. It's a replica of the Book of Shadows from Charmed. But one of the things, this was kind of something I really like the idea of it. First of all, it's just fun to have. But what I really, really liked about this that had me thinking is you see the pages, with the beautiful pages, it almost feels like skin or something. Like it feels like it's a very special type of paper. But as I flip through this book, right? If you remember in Charmed, stay with me. There were blank pages, right? For you to continue the Book of Shadows. There were blank pages for you to keep going. So I created the same thing, but I did it for specific types of witches. And they're all in my wheelhouse because I've done this type of magic. So I have a Book of Shadows for the Love Witch. And the first part, they're technically considered low content books, similar to something like this, where you're getting the information up front and a lot of, journal like templates. But I don't have templates. It's more of like the charm book I just showed you, where's the blank pages. But I'm giving you definitions. What is this? What is the practice? What are the key elements? I'm giving you actual spells to start with, and rituals. And like I said, there's so much to work with the moon, correspondences, and things like that, and daily practice and all that. So it's a lot of information. And then there's room because this isn't not, and this will be a bound book. So I'll be selling these. Yeah, they're a physical book. It's not a download only. So that's one. The second book is for the Hearth Witch. um, so I've created that similar thing. Lots of detail up front. Um, Lots of spells. So you're getting something you can work, and then there's room for you to grow. And the pages are beautiful and they're unique. Nothing is exactly the same. Because the Love Witch is a totally different thing than the Hearth Witch. So what's in there is going to look different. The artwork, everything's different. Amazon gemstones, they're going to be on Amazon. Yeah. And then there's what I'm calling the Hoodoo Grimoire Book of Shadows. And I know that's going to piss some people off hearing it called that, but that's what we're going to call it. That's what we decided on. And that one is very unique as well. And it's going to, again, give you some upfront information, some correspondence. I'm not throwing the kitchen sink at this because the purpose of this is to give you a base, something to start. A lot of times I love working, I've had videos where I show you I would be making pages in my Book of Shadows. I really like that a lot. And I realized that talking to people, one of the barriers is that a lot of people don't know where to start. And there's stuff on the market. I know there's some that just recently I saw advertisements for it too, because I was very curious as someone I was in the process of finishing up the last one I was working on, and having to go back and make sure I edit the other ones and that it all made sense. But anyway, so I'm like in that finishing process, and I'm starting to see ads on Instagram, and I don't know who it is, but they're selling it. And actually, somebody I know bought it, so I saw what it looked like, and it's very black and white. Mine is colorful. It's colorful. I don't want to do black and white. I don't want to do that. So I can't wait to see my mock-up when I get it for the Love Witch one, because I mean, it's a Love Witch. Aesthetics is everything. You want it to be pretty. So I can't wait. The cover matters, so thank you, Sunflower and Thistle. So I'm very excited. I wouldn't talk, like, in the past I've talked about what I wanted to work on, but I didn't tell you guys about this because remember that thing I told y'all about sometimes being afraid to dream too big? And just some old stuff. And yeah, I had to revisit my feelings on that last year as I was getting into this. And once I dealt with that, I was able to keep going. And I'm literally writing a book, a cozy paranormal murder mystery book. in the process, and that's coming along. I've had to kind of not write as much because I really wanted to get this done. I'm gonna have a total of 6 books, but I'm gonna hit the market with the 3. Um, and like I said, the whole point is for you to have something. It's not. I'm not gonna give it. Like the point is not for you to just be like, oh, she did all the work for me. No, there's more to the story. What will you write? What will the chorus? I'm not going to give you every single correspondence. You're going to have your own. What do you want to put in there? What are your spells? And you'll have a place where you can write it. Or if you want to paste things in it, like somebody like me, I like to mark up books and stuff like that. You'll be able to do that. Thank you, Dylan. I'm very excited about this, and that I'm this far along in the process. I feel comfortable actually talking about it. Where I'm just like I said, I'm waiting for the mock up for the first one, and the other ones will be coming shortly as well, for the other 2, and then the other 3 will come to market shortly after this. I have to actually write those, and it took some months to get those all done. So I'm kind of on a tear right now, so I don't think it's going to take quite as long for that process like it did with these other ones. I spent a lot of time on this, and they're not like they're very different. Each one is different because a Love Witch grimoire or Book of Shadows is not going to be the Hearth Witch, and it's definitely not going to be for the Hoodoo grimoire. They're completely different. The content is not the same, and that's intentional. Um, but the vibe, it's from me. It's for me because of the way that I'm going to line it up. But outside of that, like the imagery and all that is very, very different. And I'm very proud of this work because this is something that I thought about and I wanted to do, and I wanted to do something in a nonfiction. Years ago, I talked about that, and I assumed it would be like a book on cottage witchery, and I think that's still coming because I am going to do a course on witchcraft very soon. I wanted to have the books available first so I, can lead you to something after the course to kind of help you. They kind of all go hand in hand. So, yeah, I'm thinking by the time everything is done, we're in February. I'm hoping by the spring, the spring equinox, I can start talking about it, the course that I want to do, and I've already sort of done the course technically in a coven summit that we did, and they all agreed, no, this is like you need to turn this into something else. And I was like, are y'all just saying that? And they're like, no, you should turn it. And I didn't forget. I didn't forget. So yeah, an actual a course where it's live. It'll be offered through my website, and I'd like for part of it to. I like you to have something tangible with a course. I'm the type of person when I take a course, like I want to download. I want a template. I want something. Um, I I mean I'm okay with just like a lecture series type thing. I'm cool with that, but I don't know about you. I like to have something. If I don't have anything tangible, you're not mailing me something, do I get a download? So that's what I like. So I built it that way. I want you to have something. I'm someone who I can listen to you talk, but I need to be fidgeting. I need to have something. Let me write something down. Oh, I printed out all the stuff, the downloads that you gave me. I want to do the steps, what you're saying. Like, yeah, I'm that type. If you tell me I need to have, a bowl of water, I'm going to have the bowl of water there, and I'm waiting for that segment to come where we talk about this freaking bowl of water, and you're going to have me do something. So I'm that type. I'm a hands-on type. So, and I love papercraft. So Book of Shadows, grimoires are in my wheelhouse. So, I would like these to kind of tie in to some of the course, but yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, it'll just be on, practical magic. That'll be the course, practical magic to be exact. Um, you said I'm watching Wicked City as soon as you're done. Happy for your Book of Shadows for Hoodoo, and we'll be getting. I'm glad. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm very excited about all of this. By the way, there has nothing been stopping me but me. And some old stuff. I would call it imposter syndrome, and I think I had been. That's not what it is. It's bigger than imposter syndrome. I think when you are the way I grew up, I can't, it's not even imposter syndrome. It's like literally, I was told as a child I would have to work. Being black and a woman was a double negative. Those words were said to me. I'm not rephrasing this. I will, it's seen as a double negative. Being black and woman is a double negative. I was like elementary school. Um, it wasn't told to, it was told to give me an armor. And it did in some way. But do you understand in the same way, those big threes, that one religion, they got the whole thing about the sin thing, that you're born into that does something to you. It does it, and it takes root in ways that you don't realize until you try to do something big to you. I mean, I know there's other people, they're out here just putting, AI art on a notebook and saying, this is your book of shadows. I get it. I get it. It's big to me. Writing a book, creating book of shadows to appeal to people outside of me, is a big deal. um, Creating a course on practical magic is a big deal to me, to appeal to people who are not me. Like, I'm trying to, see where you are and see if I can help you and inspire you. Um, yeah. So all these years later, I had to figure out the root of what the frick is going on with me. And it wasn't just that. That was just an example. I said the way I grew up, there's more things. Um, I mean, everything from being at Southern Connecticut State University, sitting in a classroom and trying to hold back tears when I look around and I'm the only black girl in that room. Black person, but black girl in that room. And I was majoring in computer science and failing. I was working two jobs, full-time job. I worked as a receptionist at a lawyer's office, and I worked at IHOP on the weekend, and I had a full schedule of classes at in the evening, and it was hard. And when you're young, you don't you know it's hard, but you have energy, so you're doing it. Also had a social life. Like, I got a guy. I'm seeing, I don't know, a couple guy. I'm young. this guy this guy who was my friend, but I knew he was crushing on me, and I was trying to experience that, making friends. I would be going out. So like, I worked at the IHOP being a waitress on the morning shift. You know, I'm finding time to study. The schoolwork is incredibly hard. I don't realize how hard, like, I am so in over my head. I have been, uh, I was in advanced classes like in middle school and high school. I took a different route. I went to a technical high school. So there was good and bad with that as far as going on to college for computer science. Maybe not the best choice. Um, I felt like I was undereducated, being in the inner city, and there were things that they just knew and I didn't know, and I didn't know why I didn't know it. And I was like, did I miss something? And my best friends were somebody were in the same classes with, and she didn't remember learning those things either. So I was like, wow, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble here. Yeah, I failed that class, and the professor took me to the side. um yeah, all of that, and that failure, I never failed a class before. That was my first time failing something, and that I think that stayed with me in a way, and that was a big thing. And I failed, and I didn't know what to do, how to handle that. By the way, I didn't handle that very well. Um, and there would be other instances where things happen, a big thing, and because I don't know anybody who is into computer science when I'm coming up. I don't have anybody that I can turn to and ask questions and be a mentor. I don't have that. I'm blazing a trail here. And I failed at this big thing. And I didn't I was taught, I mean, if you fall down, you got to get back up. Yeah, but like, I didn't know how to get back up. So I took class again and failed again. Um, that was just a blow to my ego. I eventually left Southern Connecticut State University, and it was a series of other things that happened. And I went back home to Jersey, and I met my first husband. And shortly after meeting him, I become pregnant with my daughter, and then my life takes a whole other change. And I was determined I would not fail at this. I'm not going to fail at being a mother. I'm not going to fail her. And that was a choice. And it was hard. And there were times I literally thought I was failing. And then that's at 22. And at 25, I said I wanted another baby. And I was one of those young people who really believed that it was so important that they have the same dad, even though it wasn't good. I married this man. I was pregnant, 5 months pregnant with my son. I cried the entire wedding. I don't even know. Well, I'm 5 months pregnant. I'm emotional. From the moments them doors open and I walked down the aisle, tears. My makeup was done, just tears. I'm standing there crying the whole time. I could not stop crying. And yeah, we were together for a year after that. Then I couldn't be with him anymore. By my son's birthday, which was like, so we got married, I think sometime in the spring, I think. So it wasn't even, well, we were married. I didn't divorce him till a while because I didn't have the money and he wasn't going to do it. But my son's birthday was first birthday. So yeah, he was born in November. So by his first birthday, I was in hiding. My friend was hiding me. He was crazy, y'all. I'm gonna just say that. Anyway, that man was crazy. So I had to it wasn't no regular situation where I could just say, hey, I don't want to be together. I did say that, and he would not. He was kind of stalker crazy. Mental health issues. It was too big for me to understand at 25, 26. I didn't fully understand that I was in deeper than I realized, and way out of my realm of understanding. I was not a psychology major. I was Miss Logical over here with the computer science. I was out of my league. So I didn't know what I was involved in. But yeah, I love my son though, and I love my baby girl. And I feel like as of late, they told me, my son, literally yesterday, I was talking to him because I was telling him about my face and all that stuff. And he said, hey, I just wanted to tell you something. I was talking to, his sister. He was talking to his sister, and they had a separate conversation, and they were talking about something about, she's got this thing that people don't read enough. And that's why conversations and like the internet is the way it is, because people don't read. And which y'all read comments under different things. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like the caption is right there. They tell you the information in the front of the video, and people in the comments, where can I get that? They literally it'll be right there in the video, and people will still ask the question, where'd you get that? They just told you where they got. People don't read. Can't read, don't read, I don't know anymore. But anyway, that was their conversation. And it led into her talking about when they were coming up, how we would go to the library. Remember, I homeschooled these kids, but even before then, I would take my kids to the library. And that was a common occurrence. It wasn't once in a while. We went to the library often, sometimes like weekly, especially with my daughter, because she would get the damn near the maximum amount of books, and she would be reading all of those books. She was one of those kids, her nose was always in a book. That's why she's an excellent student, and she graduated, and that's why she has a great streak, because she's like real type A about her education. Anyway, I didn't make her that way. That's just who she is. My son, he did not read as many books as her. I'm not gonna lie to you. You say, oh, my kids were, no. Boys, some boys are different. Video games would be his thing, but he would read about the lore. World of Warcraft got him. He was a little kid. That's what got him. And he would research more about how to play the game better and the lore and all that. So he would read books about that. So I could get him on that. He read like Percy Jackson and like when he was really younger, Diary of a Wimpy Kid and stuff like that. But like as he got older, it was like it was assigned reading that he didn't read on his own. It was assigned reading. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But in their conversation, they were kind of talking about that, and he brought up to me that he said, "I just want to say, I mean, I don't know if she told you about this conversation, but thank you for doing that. For like really, he said even me, but like he said, it really has an impact on her. He said it's like kind of who she is because you exposed her to reading, to books, literature, and she wasn't just reading. She was reading by the time she was in middle school. She was reading my books. So at that point, we're talking chick lit. Like if you remember In Her Shoes, it became a movie. The books in that series, I can't think of the author's name right now, in those series of books. And she was like, she was right there with me. We weren't reading them together. I had already read these books. She saw those and was like, I wonder what that's about. This opened up her mind to dynamic, and it made her think about very grown-up themes that she hadn't been accustomed to, because she was by that point definitely YA, but it made her think differently because she was exposed to this new world of adults and these nuances between sisters. She doesn't have a sister, she has a brother, so she's like reading this. In Her Shoes is a very interesting story. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the book goes crazy. Yeah, anyway, the dynamic between it is tough. Like being the sister who's older and fatter and not considered conventionally attractive versus your younger sister who's the pretty blonde but she can't read, ironically. And she's not, because the looks thing, like she's got a learning disability actually. And there's a whole dynamic, and there's some other stuff that comes out with that, and just them navigating sisterhood and it's trauma involved and all that sort of stuff. But just like this young girl has read that book, and it was just like, huh, oh, wow, these are themes I had not thought about. But it shaped her. It started shaping her, opening her up. This is what reading does for people when you read stories. There's on the internet right now, they've been talking about how men don't read fiction a lot. Well, obviously not all men, but there's a good amount of men, especially young men, who apparently don't read fiction. They want to read, the nonfiction books on getting money and all that sort of stuff, history, da 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 da, which is nothing wrong with that. But there's lessons to be learned in fiction. I just talked about in this book. If you're reading in a genre that you particularly are fascinated by or that you're attracted to, there's all things that you can learn that you can use in your very real life from a work of fiction, especially when you get into the fantasy things. And they're basically mirroring real life society, right? Especially in fantasy work. That's not like my main thing, but I recently got a book from the library. I'm waiting to start it. I got a time. I could renew it, but it's a real thick book too, and it's fantasy. Because I want to step out my wheelhouse, my comfort zone, and read something a little bit different. I'm also looking for more inspiration with my book and other themes that I could put in and writing styles and things like that. I have been talking for a very long time. Side note, I have started this week the mushroom tea. Is a mushroom chai from Rise. Y'all probably seen the ads for that tea, right? Or well, they have a coffee. I went with the tea version. So I started my first bag, and it's supposed to help you focus. I think it works. And because of the allergy situation I had with my face and all that stuff, and actually my neck, I had to get prednisone. So that's the steroid. So I'm literally operating on about 4 hours of sleep. They gave me the first dose at the doctor's yesterday in the doctor's office. And that was in the morning, because I went first thing in the morning. When I saw my face, was like, oh my God, I'm still a monster. So she gave me the first dose there. I went and I took my second dose this morning. I have never taken steroids that I can recall. This is the most intense thing ever. I am like on some crackhead stuff right now. Like, I have so much energy for somebody who is on 4 hours of sleep. First of all, I could not go to sleep last night. I tried my hardest. I sat in a dark room. I did so many things that should help me go to sleep, but it didn't work. I was up. So I just have a lot of energy. So that's why I'm still talking, because there is no other way I think I would have been going for this dang on long. When I see people on YouTube on lives and they'll be going for like 3, 4 hours, I'm like, how? I don't know. Maybe it's steroids. Maybe it's caffeine. I don't know what people do, but this is not me. Normally, I need to stop. So I'm gonna cut myself off now. I've talked about all the things and more with you guys, and yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up here. So I appreciate you all for engaging with me. And I hope I'm not talking like really fast. I'll probably look back at this afterwards and be like, by the way, I'm going to be like this for the next 5 days. So this will be fun. I don't know if it levels off. I've never taken anything like this before. I've never had to. I don't really have allergic things, and I don't have steroid issues and stuff like that. So yeah, this is weird for me. I'm glad you think so, Gemstones. I had a good time talking. um, that mushroom tea, let me tell you something. Before the everything happened, I started taking it on Monday. Um, and it also suppresses your appetite, by the way. Not that I'm saying, but I'm just saying it did for me. And yet I was very energetic, but not jittery. I'm not jittery. So if you were looking for something for some energy, I'm saying maybe you want to give that a try. And I've been locked in. I was able to get so much done in those days, by the way, between the book stuff, all kinds of stuff like house chores, magical house chores, rituals, spells. Like, I've been doing all the things. So I think it works. So yeah. Thank you, Insky. Thank you all. All right, so I'm done. All right, have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's. And I will just say this: if you are someone who loves the idea of romance and Valentine's and all that sort of stuff, I'm gonna give you a tip. I'm going to put that thing on that charger for later. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Um, hit the join button to join Leap Taken membership. It supports the channel. There's wonderful perks like 40% off at leaptaken.com, by the way. That's just as a member. And also go to my website, leaptaken.com. I'm available for bookings, and eventually there'll be some other stuff there, like the things I'm talking about, and links to get over to purchase this other stuff, and eventually the course. But I'm aiming for spring. The course is pretty much done. I have to make some changes and things like that, and I want to have these grimoires ready to go. That's a kind of a big part of it too. But anyway, I appreciate you all. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.